containing an attempt to recover and reconstitute the lost origins of the myths and mysteries, types and symbols, religion and language, with Egypt for the mouthpiece, and Africa as the birthplace.
So, I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine finding a copy of The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
But it's like 3,000 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And literally all cultural memory of what a novel is or what fiction is has just been completely wiped out.
Oh, man. That would be wild.
Right. So the people who find it, they read about this return of a king, they read about a massive war, a fiery mountain, and they just assume they are holding this literal geographical prophecy.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, they start looking at the news, right? Like waiting for a dark lord to just literally return and trigger the end times.
Because they lack the context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And according to the 19th century writer Gerald Massey, that is, well, that's exactly what happened with the Book of Revelation.
It's a huge claim.
It is. It's massive. So today on the Deep Dive, we are unpacking Massey's really controversial text. It's called Egyptian Wisdom in the Revelation of John the Divine. And we're going to try to reconstruct his arguments step by step to understand how he basically takes the most apocalyptic text in Western history and reinterprets it as this deeply misunderstood map of the ancient stars.
Yeah, it is a complete inversion of how this text has been read for like 2 millennia.
Truly.
And Massey's sole mission in this work, and we really have to emphasize this, his mission is to trace the imagery of Revelation directly back to its Egyptian roots.
Okay.
Like, he isn't interested in making modern theological corrections. You know, he's not debating Orthodox Christian doctrine.
Or he's just sidestepping all of that.
Totally. He argues that Revelation has absolutely zero historical or prophetic Christian content.
Zero. Wow.
Zero. Instead, he claims it is a pure survival of Egyptian astronomical mythology and their eschatology, which is the journey of the soul after death.
Okay.
But it was preserved in this transformed and ultimately, in his view, completely misunderstood form.
Okay, so our goal today is to kind of act as careful editors, right? Like
Yeah.
stepping entirely into Massey's framework, using his terminology and following his comparative method to see the text exactly as he saw it.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it justice.
Right. And to do that, we need to understand the mechanics of his method, like how he actually compares these things. Because he doesn't just look for vague similarities between biblical stories and Egyptian myths, right?
No, it's highly specific.
Yeah, he reads Revelation directly against ancient Egyptian sources, primarily the Book of the Dead, or as he calls it, the ritual.
Yes, the ritual.
But I have a fundamental question about how he bridges this gap.
Okay, lay it on me.
So I follow the logic of looking at constellations and ancient star maps, I get that. But where I get tripped up is the translation mechanism itself. Like, if we are looking at Egyptian astronomy that dates back thousands of years before the 1st century,
Right.
how did early Christians end up with these specific symbols, and why did they write them down as a terrifying nightmare? Did these myths just kind of survive in a vacuum?
Okay, so that is the core of Massey's thesis regarding what he provocatively calls the carnalizers.
The carnalizers.
Yeah, or he also calls them the Sarkolatræ.
Sarkolatræ. Okay.
Yeah. So Massey argues that the early Christian compilers inherited this vast library of esoteric Egyptian wisdom, the gnosis.
The gnosis, the hidden knowledge.
Exactly. And this gnosis was a highly sophisticated cyclical system of metaphors. They used it to describe astronomical phenomena and the journey of the soul through the underworld.
Okay.
But the carnalizers, according to Massey, they lacked the initiatory understanding of these symbols. They didn't have the key.
They didn't get the metaphor.
Right. They took a spiritual and astronomical system and they flattened it. They literalized it.
So they took a cosmic cycle, like the predictable rotation of the stars, and turned it into a linear timeline of history with a definitive fiery end.
Precisely. To use Massey's logic, they made the word made flesh into one historic, physical personality,
Oh, wow.
rather than understanding it as an ongoing cosmic cycle of renewal.
That's a huge distinction.
It is.
Yeah.
So to decode this, Massey builds this rigid dual framework. He strictly distinguishes between the natural astronomical phenomena that the Egyptians were observing,
Like eclipses or something?
like solar and lunar cycles, or the vast precession of the equinoxes, which we'll get into.
Okay.
He distinguishes between the actual sky and the mythic representations they used to record them.
Gotcha.
So when Revelation mentions, a beast rising from the sea or a star falling from heaven,
Right.
Massey isn't looking for a political figure in Rome.
Oh, okay.
He's looking up at the celestial pole.
That is so interesting. Okay, let's see how that flattening actually happens in the text then. Let's start with the narrator and the setting.
Good place to start.
So, tradition gives us a historical Christian figure named John, right? He's exiled on the island of Patmos, writing down a vision. But under Massey's framework, John isn't a historical person at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Massey interprets John the Divine as a personalization of the Egyptian divine scribe, Taht-Aan.
Taht-Aan.
Yeah, Taht-Aan was the pre-Christian divine penman. He was the sacred scribe to whom tens of thousands of papyrus rolls were attributed in Egyptian tradition.
Wow, okay.
He is the recorder of decrees in the eschatology.
And Massey makes a linguistic connection there, right? Like Abayan becoming John.
He does, yeah, Abayan and John. But it goes way deeper than just linguistics. It's functional.
Functional how?
So in the Egyptian ritual, Taht-Aan is the saluter of Horus. He carries the eye of Horus and testifies that Horus is the true light of the world.
Oh, and that sounds exactly like John the Baptist or John the Evangelist in the Bible.
Exactly. The author of Revelation and the Gospel of John serves the exact same literary and mythological function. Massey explicitly states that Revelation consists of scenes and characters from the mysteries of Taht-Aan.
That shifts the perspective entirely. If the author is a cosmic record keeper, then the physical location of the vision has to be mythological too,
They
right?
track it perfectly.
So John is said to be on the Isle of Patmos, but Massey links this directly to the Isle of Flame in the Egyptian ritual.
Yes.
What is the mechanism behind that connection, though? Why the Isle of Flame?
So in the geography of the Egyptian underworld, which is called a menta,
A mento.
right? The Isle of Flame is the Mount of Glory. It is the specific location where the sun god, or the resurrected soul, attains supremacy over the darkness.
Oh, so it's a place of victory.
Exactly. It's a place of divine revelation and cosmic reset. When the carnalizers adapted the text, they grounded this mystical underworld geography into a literal physical island in the Aegean Sea.
They just picked a real island and mapped the myth onto it.
That's Massey's argument, yes.
Okay, so John is Taht-Aan, and Patmos is the Isle of Flame. That brings us to the actual vision taking place. John sees this glorious figure of Jesus walking among 7 golden lampstands, holding 7 stars. How does Massey deconstruct that heavenly throne room?
Okay, so according to Massey, the vision of Jesus here is actually the vision of Eu, the son of Atum-Ra.
Oh.
Yeah, he's known as the ever-coming son in Egyptian theology.
Yeah.
And the environment surrounding him, that throne room, is a direct mapping of the celestial pole.
Wait, literally the stars at the North Pole?
Exactly. Translated into a throne room. The 7 stars and the 7 golden lampstands represent the Kabzu gods of light from the ritual.
The Kabzu gods, are those the never-setting stars?
Yes, you got it. They are the stars upon the celestial summit that never dip below the horizon.
Because they're so close to the pole, that makes sense astronomically.
Right, so they serve as witnesses for eternal continuity before the supreme throne. Because they never die in the mythological sense.
Oh, that is brilliant.
And in the Egyptian mythos, they are also grouped as the 7 seshes, or servants, of Horus. Massey argues that Revelation just imported this astronomical architecture whole cloth.
Okay, if the setting is a cosmic throne room mapping the celestial pole rather than a Roman island, what is actually happening in this court? Because the text of Revelation is obsessively focused on Judgment Day and the end of the world.
Yeah, lots of doom and gloom.
Right. But if we are dealing with cyclical astronomy, the end of the world must mean something entirely different to Massey than it does to modern theology.
Oh, absolutely. It means the end of an eon.
An eon. An age.
Right. Massey argues that the end of the world in these ancient texts was periodic. It was akin to like an annual deluge, or on a macro scale, the termination of a vast astronomical cycle.
Like a massive calendar ticking over.
Yes. This is deeply tied to the great year of the world, the cycle of precession, which takes roughly 26,000 years to complete.
26,000 years.
Yeah, it's the Earth's wobble. So at the end of one of these massive celestial periods, the ancient calendar essentially ran out, and it was time for a cosmic reset.
Which necessitates a judgment, a time to balance the scales before the new age begins.
Exactly. It was time for the dead to be judged. Massey draws heavy parallels here to the Book of Enoch, which features a massive astronomical judgment sequence.
Okay.
And in Revelation, this judgment takes place before a heavenly court, most notably featuring 24 elders seated on thrones.
Right, the 24 elders. And under this framework, there is no way Massey views them as 24 historical patriarchs or apostles.
Oh, not even close. He traces them straight to Babylonian and Egyptian timekeeping.
Timekeeping. So they are ours.
Close. The 24 elders are 24 stellar judges. In these ancient calendars, there were 24 divine judges represented by stars.
Okay.
12 positioned to the north of the zodiac and 12 to the south.
Oh, wow.
They are cosmic timekeepers, the judges of the harvest field of eternity, presiding over the transition of the ages.
That logic holds together beautifully when you look at the focal point of this entire throne room. There's a book sealed with 7 seals. If the elders are timekeepers, the book they are focused on must be a calendar, right? What is this sealed book in Massey's Egyptian framework?
So Massey interprets the book, sealed with 7 seals, as the celestial heptanymus.
Heptanymus. What does that mean?
It's an older celestial formation. Basically, heaven divided into 7 sections, or astronos.
Heaven sections. So breaking the seals isn't triggering earthly plagues or geopolitical disasters like earthquakes and wars?
No. Breaking the 7 seals signifies the passing away of that old heaven in its 7 divisions to make way for a new celestial order.
It's just a calendar turning a page.
Exactly. It's a record of the 7 ages in the cycle of precession, kept by Taht-Aan, the divine recorder. When the seals are broken, the text is symbolizing the end of a specific astronomical era.
Man, that is so much less terrifying than the literal reading.
Much less terrifying, it's just celestial mechanics.
And surrounding this breaking of the ages are the 4 living creatures. A lion, a calf, a man, and a flying eagle.
Yeah.
And they are covered in eyes, never resting day or night. This is where Massey's synthesis of funerary rites and astronomy gets really fascinating to me. He identifies these creatures as the canopic deities.
Yes, Amsta, Hapi, Tuamutef, and Kabsano.
Right.
In Egyptian funerary practices, these are the 4 glorified spirits that guard the internal organs of the mummy. They are stationed at the 4 corners of the coffin.
But how does a coffin map onto a cosmic throne room? That feels like a stretch.
Well, because in the grand astronomical mythology, the Earth itself was viewed as the coffin of Osiris.
Wait, Earth is a coffin.
Yeah, Osiris, as the elemental god of matter and nature, was buried within it. So these 4 spirits represent the 4 quarters, or the 4 cardinal points of the Earth and the sky.
Oh, wow. It makes the phrase, the 4 corners of the earth, a physical funerary reality for the Egyptians, not just a flat earth metaphor.
Exactly. It's a sacred geography. And because they are astronomical figures representing the 4 quarters of the sky, Massey points out that the eyes all over them in Revelation.
Right, they're covered in eyes.
Those eyes are simply stars.
Of course they are.
Yeah, they are guiding stars, 1 to each quarter, north, south, east, and west.
And they have no rest day or night because the celestial sphere is in constant rotation.
You're getting the hang of Massey's brain now.
It's wild. Massey strips away all the surreal, hallucinatory terror of the text and reveals a highly structured, almost mechanical astronomical clock.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a clock.
But a clock turning over to a new age inevitably creates friction, right? The breakdown of this old heptanymus introduces the dramatic antagonists of the text. And this is where the carnalizers' moral literalization really distorts the original myth, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when we look at Babylon the Great harlot.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
In traditional readings, she is the ultimate symbol of human sin, idolatry, or like the oppressive Roman Empire. But Massey completely rehabilitates her.
He does. And the mechanism by which he explains her vilification is honestly fascinating. In Massey's interpretation, she is not a symbol of human sin. She is the ancient great mother of the mysteries.
The Great Mother?
Yeah, she's the mother of life and the source of the 7 elemental forces of nature.
And he identifies her Egyptian prototype as Apt, right? The red water cow or hippopotamus?
Yes, Apt was a primitive uranographic constellation that actually preceded the Great Bear. She was revered as the mother of mystery.
Oh, okay.
Massey points out that her specific title in the Egyptian ritual is the Lady of the Scarlet-Colored Garment. Yeah, which directly parallels the woman in Revelation who is arrayed in purple and scarlet.
But if she was a revered mother of life, how does Massey account for the intense moral disgust in Revelation? I mean, the text constantly calls her a harlot and focuses on the wine of her fornication.
Right.
How does he explain that transition without invoking moral judgment.
He argues that the fornication merely symbolizes primitive, pre-patriarchal promiscuity in the earliest elemental mythos.
Pre-patriarchal promiscuity. What does that mean in this context?
Well, it's an allegory for the mystery of fecundation by water.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, the primitive mystery of the annual inundation of the Nile, which brings life to the soil.
So it's agriculture, it's the flooding of the river.
Yes. The golden cup she holds in Revelation is originally the water vase of the inundation. It is a purely natural elemental symbol.
That makes so much sense.
But as theology evolved toward patriarchal systems, these older matriarchal elemental deities were demonized.
They were pushed out.
Right. The carnalizers, inheriting this later prejudice and completely misunderstanding the astronomical mythology, they turned the constellation of the life-giving mother into the ultimate symbol of evil and lust.
They took a water vase representing the flooding of the Nile and turned it into the cup of the wrath of her fornication. That is a staggering mythological translation.
It really is. It's a complete character assassination of a constellation.
Yeah, literally. And she rides a scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, which is closely linked to the dragon. How does Massey explain the beast?
Massey traces the beast and the dragon back to Sebek, the crocodile-headed deity of Egypt.
Sebek.
Sebek is the prototypical solar dragon. The beast she rides is actually her own child or consort in the elemental mythos.
Okay, because she's the mother of life.
Exactly. The Great Mother is the mother of the 7 elemental powers, and the beast with 7 heads represents the solar dragon and its 7 powers of the celestial pole.
But Massey points out a very specific, bizarre detail in Revelation regarding this beast. One of its 7 heads receives a fatal, mortal wound that miraculously heals.
Yes.
I really want to dig into the logic here. What is the Egyptian parallel for a healing head wound on a 7-headed monster? Because that sounds so oddly specific.
This is one of Massey's most intricate structural arguments. He states that the healing head wound represents a literal shift in ancient Egyptian iconography and theological evolution.
Okay.
In the earliest representations, the solar god was depicted as the crocodile, Sebek. But as the mythology evolved over millennia, the human type was introduced.
The human type. So they stopped drawing him as a crocodile.
Right. Sebek Horus, the crocodile, was transformed into the human Horus, the child of the Virgin Mother.
So the wound healing represents a change in the physical depiction of the god.
Exactly. As Massey explained it, the beast essentially lost one of his original animalistic heads, which was replaced by a human head when the wound was healed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The image that could suddenly speak, as Revelation describes it, was the human type, replacing the mute animal type.
Because crocodiles can't speak.
Right.
The text of Revelation describes a beast surviving a fatal head wound and getting a mouth to speak great things. And Massey's logic dictates that this is a distorted historical record of Egyptian theologians stopping the practice of drawing the sun god with a crocodile head and starting to draw him with a human head.
Yes, that is precisely his argument.
The carnalizers found a record of theological evolution and misread it as a prophecy of a future Antichrist figure.
Exactly. They read an art history update as a geopolitical nightmare.
That is mind-blowing. But the presence of this dragon, this older elemental serpent, it implies a cosmic struggle between the old religion and the new, right? Between darkness and light.
It does.
Which brings us to the climax of the book. The war in heaven, commonly known as Armageddon.
Yes, Armageddon.
If you ask most people today, Armageddon is a future, devastating, earthly war. A geopolitical nightmare in the Middle East. But if Massey is reading this as a celestial map, what is actually fighting what?
In Massey's interpretation, Armageddon is the cyclical battle fought at the point of the equinox between the sun god and the dragon of darkness.
Okay.
The Egyptian prototype is Harmaku, the sun god of both horizons, battling the evil Apap reptile.
The Apap reptile. So this is a daily or annual event.
It operates on multiple scales, actually. Every night, or at the autumnal equinox, the sun god sinks into the west and is confronted by his natural enemy, Apap.
The devourer.
Yes, the devourer rising from the bottomless abyss. The great battle in the ritual is fought during the last hours of the night. At dawn, the dragon is repulsed, bound in chains, and overthrown.
So when Revelation describes an angel coming down from heaven with a great chain to bind the dragon for 1,000 years, that's just the dawn, or a larger processional dawn.
It is the triumph of light over darkness, celebrated nightly, annually, and at the termination of the great processional cycles. It is literally astronomy personified.
Wow.
And the defeated enemies of the sun god, the forces of darkness, are cast into the lake of fire.
Okay, we have to talk about the lake of fire, because that is arguably the most terrifying concept in Christian theology, a place of eternal conscious torment. How does Massey reconstruct that using the ritual?
So in the Egyptian geography of Enta, the underworld, the lake of fire is the Red Lake.
The Red Lake.
Yeah,
Correct.
but it is not a place of eternal conscious torment for humanity. It is a place of absolute annihilation for the enemies of the sun and the evil souls, what they call the second death.
The second death. Revelation uses that exact phrase.
Yes, it does. But in Egypt, it functioned as a cosmic recycling bin.
A recycling bin. That's a great way to put it.
The forces of non-existence, the Apap dragon and his fiends, they had to be completely extinguished in this fire so the sun could safely rise in peace the next morning.
They just cease to exist. They aren't tortured forever.
Exactly. The carnalizers took a mythological mechanism for maintaining cosmic order and weaponized it into a literal threat against human souls.
That is just, it's tragic, honestly.
It really is.
So amidst this cosmic war, we see another iconic image. The woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet. She's crying out in childbirth while the dragon waits to devour her child. She eventually flees into the wilderness. How does that fit into the Egyptian battle?
Massey interprets this fleeing woman as the classic myth of the mother protecting the divine heir.
Okay.
The Egyptian prototype is Isis, hiding in the marshes of Lower Egypt to protect the infant Horus from the Apap dragon.
Or I guess from Sebek in the older version.
Exactly, or originally the Great Mother Apt protecting her child from Sebek. She flees into the wilderness to raise the child who will eventually mature, take the throne, and defeat the darkness.
Which perfectly sets up the ultimate victor in Revelation, the Lamb.
The Lamb, yes.
And this is where Massey's thesis reaches its absolute peak of astronomical dating. Suddenly, in the climax of Revelation, Jesus is depicted as a lamb. Why a lamb? Why not a lion or an eagle? I mean, a lamb isn't exactly a fierce warrior.
Right. Massey argues this is purely astronomical dating, and it's the cornerstone of his historical argument.
Okay, break this down for me.
He explains that due to the precession of the equinoxes, that wall, what we talked about earlier, the constellation in which the sun rises on the spring equinox slowly shifts over a period of thousands of years.
Okay.
Around the year 2410 BC, the vernal equinox moved out of the zodiacal sign of Taurus, the bull, and into the sign of Aries, the ram.
So the celestial calendar physically changed in the sky.
Right. And because the equinox moved into Aries, the sacrificial type in the Egyptian religion fundamentally changed to match the sky.
Oh, wow.
It shifted from the calf, representing Taurus, to the lamb, representing Aries.
Huh.
Horus the calf was succeeded by Horus the lamb on the Mount of Glory.
That is incredible. So when Revelation uses the phrase, the lamb that hath been slain from the foundation of the world, Massey believes that is a literal astronomical statement.
Yes. Christians have debated the theological meaning of the foundation of the world for centuries.
Right.
But for Massey, the foundation of the world was the zodiacal foundation of the equinox.
Okay.
When the equinox shifted from Taurus to Aries, the old astronomical foundation was metaphorically slain or passed away, and a new one was established.
Wow.
The Lamb was slain at the foundation of this new astronomical world age.
It's not a theological mystery. It is a celestial calendar logging the year 2410 BC.
Exactly.
That is just,
Yeah.
It's so elegant. And this new age ushers in the final utopian vision of the book, the New Jerusalem, the holy city coming down from heaven, perfectly measured.
Yeah. In Massey's reading, the New Jerusalem is the new heaven built on 12 foundations, which represent the 12 signs of the final zodiac.
Oh, 12 signs. Replacing the older heaven of the Heptanomus, the 7 divisions we discussed with the sealed book.
Exactly. He traces this directly back to the heaven of Adam-Ra at Anu.
A celestial creation founded upon 12 zodiacal signs.
Yes. The New Jerusalem is the Egyptian heaven of eternity at the summit of Mount Hetep, the paradise of peace. It is perfectly squared and measured because it mirrors the perfected geometry of the zodiac.
When you look at the architecture Massey has built here, it's not just a collection of vague similarities. It is a one-to-one structural overlay.
It's airtight.
Like, he isn't just saying Egyptians had dragons and Revelation has a dragon. He is mapping specific functions.
Yeah, if we pull all this together into a cohesive map, let's just look at the master list for a second. The scale of his argument becomes undeniable.
Walk me through it.
Okay, so when Massey looks at John on the Isle of Patmos, he doesn't see a Christian exile. He sees Taht-Aan on the Isle of Flame, acting as the divine recorder of the eschatology.
Right.
When he looks at the 7 golden lampstands, he sees the Kabsu gods of light, the never-setting pole stars, witnessing eternal continuity.
The celestial pole, yeah.
The 4 living creatures aren't surreal angelic beings. They are Amsta, Hapi, Tuamutef, and Kabsanuf.
The canopic spirits guarding the 4 corners of the earth.
Exactly, which is the coffin of Osiris.
The earth as a coffin still blows my mind.
And the villains are just as systematically mapped.
The great harlot of Babylon is Apt, the ancient elemental great mother, stripped of her reverence and literalized into a symbol of sin.
The beast with 7 heads is Sebek, the solar dragon, its healing head wound acting as a historical record of the Egyptian transition from animal to human deity.
From the crocodile to human Horus, yes.
Armageddon is the nightly and processional battle of Harmako against the Apap dragon at the horizon.
The equinoctial battle.
And finally, Jesus the Lamb is Horus the Lamb, a literal marker of the vernal equinox shifting into Aries around 2410 BC.
Ushering in the New Jerusalem, which is simply the 12-part heaven of Adam Ra, it is a cohesive celestial and funerary blueprint. So under that framework, what is Massey's final judgment on the text of Revelation itself? What's his conclusion?
Massey's final stance is unequivocal. He concludes that the imagery of Revelation originated entirely in Egyptian wisdom.
Entirely.
Yes. There's no historical Christian prophecy in the book whatsoever. He views the relationship between Egyptian wisdom and Christian scripture as one of uncredited inheritance and tragic misinterpretation.
The carnalizers took the gnosis and flattened it.
They took symbols of eternal, cosmic renewal, like the shifting of the equinoxes, the daily defeat of darkness, the soul's safe passage through Amenta, and turned them into terrifying one-time apocalyptic events.
Things that were supposed to happen on Earth to actual people in the near future.
Right. To Massey, the tragedy isn't just plagiarism. Plagiarism happens in myth-making all the time. The Greeks did it, the Romans did it.
Sure.
The tragedy is the loss of the original profound meaning. The science of the ancient wisdom was lost, leaving behind a husk of terrifying prophecies based on misunderstood metaphors.
It goes back to our opening analogy. The beauty of the allegory was lost because someone insisted it was a history textbook. Massey is asking us to look at the scariest book in the Bible, a book that has driven centuries of doomsday anxiety, and see a peaceful, mechanical map of the stars. It requires a complete unlearning of thousands of years of cultural assumptions.
It's a massive paradigm shift.
It really is. If you're listening to this and wondering why a 19th century text about ancient Egypt matters today, just think about how often apocalyptic imagery is still used in our modern political and cultural discourse to generate fear.
All the time.
Massey argues that the entirety of Revelation is a misunderstanding of ancient metaphors. It makes you wonder, what metaphors from our own culture today might be dug up in 2,000 years.
Oh, man.
Will future civilizations find our sci-fi movies about artificial intelligence or climate disaster and, lacking the context of fiction, interpret them as terrifying, literal prophecies of their own doom?
That is a terrifying thought.
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Keep questioning the text and keep looking up at the stars.
Containing an attempt to recover and reconstitute the lost origins of the myths and mysteries, types and symbols, religion and language, with Egypt for the mouthpiece and Africa as the birthplace.